All right, everybody, so today we are going to be learning how to use Photopea to create a text integrated image. And if you don't know what that looks like, it looks like this. It's where the image and the text look like they belong together, like the text is within it. Now, something that I've learned from this is, first of all, you cannot use Pixlr to do this. I repeat, Pixlr will not work. You can't erase text in Pixlr. So make sure that you use it in Photopea. Now, if you started editing it in Photor or Pixlr, that's fine. In fact, sometimes if you know an editor better, then use that first, but you have to bring in an edited picture. Now, I already edited this once before, but I actually went in again and I edited this again so that it will have this really dark look. Now, this picture is darker than it would usually be. Now, this area here is white, and so I kind of want to make it a little bit darker still. So I'm going to go to Images and Adjustments because I want to use white text. And if I have white, it won't be able to be seen. So the one thing you can do is you can actually crush your whites. So if you bring that down, notice how your whites are starting to get darker. I can still bring this up so it's still like the midtones are brighter, but the whites are now crushed, so they're all gray. There isn't true white. I could do this with my oopsies. Went too far. I'm going to go reset. There we go. So I'm going to do that again because I accidentally lost control of it for a second. So I'm going to bring up my midtones and then I'm going to crush my blacks a little bit. Does it every time. There we go. Just a little. There we go. I don't want to crush it too far. And there we go. So now I've kind of crushed it a little bit. I got this S curve. I'm happy with it. This would be a little bit too over edited under normal circumstances, just so y'all know. So now what I'm going to do is I'm choosing the quote, go outside. Now what I did for this was I typed it in. So I go to text at the bottom and I type in go once. So I typed it in like this and then outside like this. So I don't like how much bigger go is. So in order to resize it, you go to the arrow and make sure you have the transform controls on. And now if I go to go, and I can now size it down just a little bit. I can also go to outside, make it a little bit bigger. I can also make it a little bit wider. Same with go. If I wanted to kind of change it up just a little, make it fit just a little bit more to it. There. So now I'm going to put right here, I'm going to put this one again, I'm going to adjust it. A lot of this process is just kind of like pushing, pulling, getting it set. And you don't have to keep it at this angle. I could say go outside like this, and I could bring it to an angle so it kind of looks like they're almost part of the tree, like climbing up the tree. All right, so now this is the first one I chose. Now, I've actually recorded this like 3 times before and I've hit roadblocks every time, and I want to show you these so you learn from my mistakes. First one, I'm going to erase all these. I started off with this one. Now the problem with this one is notice how the edges of it are very curly. It's very hard to erase, and it is not completely opaque, meaning I can see through these little tendrils. So it was very hard to organize around it. So I was working on it for a long time and then I realized I had to just scrap it. Remember that. If you hit a point where it's going to take you more work to fix it, then just start over. Don't waste your time trying to recover something that just isn't going to work for you. And then on the other hand, if you're halfway to that point and it's looking good, but it's taking you a long time, don't give up. Like if you feel like you have a good plan in mind, like I'm not just telling you to give up every time. I'm just saying if you know that that it's too hard and it's not going to work, stop trying to work on something you're not going to like. But if you know you really like it, but it's taking a really long time, then make sure you just stick with it. So just have your end goal in mind. That's always the trick. Make sure you know what you want. So here I have my go outside, and to zoom in, I go to this guy and I'm going to go to here. And I'm going to bring it close. Now to erase it, here's a little trick you can use. So I go outside and I turn down the opacity of the layer. Look at how I can see through that very clearly now. So when I go to erase, it'll be very easy. Now you can erase in 2 ways. The first way is just take the eraser and, I have to rasterize. Always rasterize. Zoop. There it is. And I'm going to rasterize this one. Yep. All right. I can just erase. Boop. Boop. Not erasing. It's because I'm on the wrong layer. Make sure you're on the right layer. There we go. I can erase that way. The other way I can do it is I can actually make a layer mask. So I'm going to be outside. I go to the bottom here. It looks like a circle within a square. And here is a mask. So Now, make sure this dotted line is around the mask and you go over to the paintbrush. Now, what I'm about to tell you sounds super counterintuitive, so bear with me. I'm going to say it twice. Once it's on the mask, it's not here. Don't have it selected on this guy. You're selected on the mask, the white attachment that showed up when you clicked the button. You make sure that in here, these are your colors. You switch it so black is on top. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but you're going to paint it and it's not going to be black. It's going to erase. What you're doing is you've created a mask on the layer, and so it is erasing the mask. So let's say you're sitting here, you're going along, and achoo, you accidentally erase. Oh no! You could do it two ways. You can Control Z, or if you achoo, wrong way, switch it to white, and you can bring it back. Look at that. Now it won't just make it white. It will only bring back what is already there. So then I switch it to black again, and I can go along my merry way, erasing the edge, just like that. All right, so then I have to switch it back to white to get this little section. Perfect. All right, now I bring my opacity all the way back to 100, and you can see it's starting to blend in. Now, another little trick you can use to make it really look like it belongs is you're going to make sure that you are on the dotted layer, not on the mask anymore, and you're going to switch it to gray. You're going to make your brush very small and very soft. There, oh, no, a little bigger than that. There we go. Now, I'm going to zoom all the way in, just like that. And you can now take your brush and you can kind of give it a little gray. Oops, it's a little bit too much. So I'm going to go into opacity. I want to make it less opaque. I want it to be kind of shaded. All right, here we go. So now if I zoom out, it's zooming in. So close. Look at how it looks like it's shaded behind the tree. So that's how you can kind of create that integration. So I'm going to go over to Go this time. Again, I'm going to switch to 50% so I can see through it. I'm going to add a layer mask. I make sure my thing is set to black. I switch to my brush and then I zoom way in so that I can really get close. So I have that control like that. And now, oh no, there we go. Now I'm going to go to my eraser. Oop, 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 oop. It's not eraser. Oh, that was on the wrong layer. That's why. I have my opacity down again. There's a couple things that you got to watch out for. All right, there we go. So now I'm just adjusting it. Going through. Go here again. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so I can see the edge. Also, my brush got very soft, so I'm going to bring it up a little bit again. Oopsies. And so yeah, it's just a little bit of process, a lot of clicking. This is a, this one is going to take you a minute. You're going to be sitting here kind of clicking away, making sure everything kind of works. There we go. I'm going to bring up the Go again, just so you can see it. And again, you might want to go in and adjust, making that shadows, maybe erasing a little bit more or bringing it back so it doesn't look soft, because the bush isn't, or that branch isn't soft. It's a pretty hard surface. So here are just a couple ways of integrating that text. Now the shadow looks really good in there, so make sure that that kind of fits in. Now harder surfaces work better. Remember, my jellyfish didn't work very well because it was too soft and it was hard to erase around, and it wasn't completely opaque. It wasn't, I could see through it, so I would have to make it so it looked like my text was kind of shadowed through it. That's a very hard technique to do, but if you want the challenge, you can do it. So yes, that's how you do it. You erase around the building, make it look like it's behind buildings or trees or flowers or petals or clouds or whatever. Make it look like it's part of the picture. And to finish it off, add a little bit of gray, like I did here, to make it look like it's shadowed by the picture. So that is how you do this particular style. The last thing I wanted to mention is something I kind of glazed over before, is when you are picking out your text. I didn't like the text I saw at first. To get different text, you can go to 1001 Free Fonts and download them, and all you have to do is drag and drop them into it, and it will upload your font into here. Otherwise, you can go into your fonts and you can choose whatever fonts you want. So that's the font you can choose, and you can bring in new ones. The bulkier the font, the easier it is to erase. You change the fonts with this little white guy up here, and then if you want to make the font any size you want, you can change it that way. Otherwise, to change the font, I just really like to go to here, go to transform controls, and then I just adjust it to whatever size I want. But in order to do anything with your fonts, remember, you have to actually click on it, be on the right layer. Here we go. Make sure you're on the right layer. Also, once you rasterize it, you can't adjust your fonts anymore. So let's say I'm going along and I start adjusting. You have to make sure your fonts are done. So let's say, okay, I'm going to just write something here. I'm going to go do the right. I wrote go. By the way, it's this tiny font. So I have go. So I wrote go here. I can adjust it. I can do whatever I want with it right now. As soon as I rasterize it, I can adjust the size of it, but I can no longer, my selection for changing the color is gone. The only way I can adjust my color is if I were in the other one. You can cheater adjust it if you really want to, and dump paint into it, I think. But I'm not sure. I'm just going to see if that's even possible. So I click that blue. Okay. Yes, you could cheater. You could, but that was supposed to be blue. I don't know why it was gray. Anyway, you can cheat it and just dump paint into it. So if you really find yourself in a bind, you need to change the color. That's one thing you can do. So that is how you do integrated text. I hope that you found this helpful. I know I really love the way that this looks. I'm excited to see what you do with it. Have a great day, everybody.